Welcome, Atelier Mariekuniek podcast. This is episode 3 of 2022. My name is Marieke, and in this episode I will be talking about sewing, knitting, and a bike trip I went on with my daughter to the Zaanse Schans. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are a new viewer, welcome. In this episode, I will be talking about what I'm wearing and what I am wearing, and I find wearing a very difficult word to say, I feel. Anyhow, I don't go and stand up to show you what I'm wearing. My colleague made a photo and I will put it down here. And in the photo I wear most of the things I do as well at this moment, except for the cardigan. Instead of the cardigan I have a jacket, but I will talk about both of them. First of all, the first thing I would like to talk about is the Romy top. That's the shirt with the flower print. It's the Romy top from Tilly and the Buttons, and it's version C. I will put up a line drawing right here so you can see what it's like. It's got this boat neck, I believe it is. It's like a children's romper, and yeah, that's what I liked about the pattern, but I feel the neckline is a bit too high for my taste, because it's pressing against my neck and I don't always like that feeling. So whenever I think about it, then I think, oh no, I don't like it. But if I forget, then it goes away, the feeling. But yeah, I think when I make it another time, I will lower the neckline a bit to make it more comfortable for myself. But yeah, I like the print. I like the fabric of the I used. So yeah, that's the reason why I keep on wearing it, even though I don't like the feel of the neck. The second thing I am wearing is the Otis Overall, and it's a lovely design by Specs and Keepings. It's got a lovely bag. You don't see it in the picture, but I will also put a line drawing of the bag there in this corner. Yeah, and it's all the fabrics I buy mostly local. So we have this big yarn, not the yarn shop, the fabric shop here in Haarlem, and that's where I bought this fabric last year. So I don't think it will be available anymore. But yeah, so I cannot put down links to fabrics because of that. I hope you understand. That's the same with the shirt. It's also a fabric I bought, well, I think 3 years ago, so it's not available anymore. Anyhow, the Otis Overall, I love it. I love the design. I love the fact it's got a lower back with a, I don't know how to call it, but it's gathered, and that's why you can put it as how to say this? Well, you can gather it with a string, and so you can gather it as much or as little as you want. That's how I wanted to say it. So that's what I like about the pattern. I also like the way the bottom is finished. So yeah, it's completely my style. And so I also made another one, and I'm planning to make more in the future, just because I simply love the way it fits me. The Otis Overall. Then on my picture here, I am wearing the Thayer Jacket, and it's a jacket by Craneline Studio. I have the pattern right here. I already talked about it in one of my old episodes, because I made it 2 years ago, or last year. No, not last year, 2 years ago. Yeah. And it's the perfect autumn jacket when it's not raining, of course, because it's a woolen fabric. Also, all those fabrics, sorry to say, but it is not, I did buy them locally, so not online. But the pattern is, so that's a plus. I will leave all the links to things that are available in the description box down below. The next thing I would like to talk about of what I'm wearing are my socks. You don't see them on my feet right now, but they are. They are the Sybaritic Socks by Hunter Hammerson. Links below, and it is a wonderful sock. I will put up a picture right here, because if you want to make some socks you are comfortable wearing in shoes, but have a little different cuff, this is the sock for you, because they have a leaf pattern on the top, and I really loved knitting them, and I really like wearing them. And I made them in a Dutch brand, Wol met Verve, and it's, I don't know the color. Oh, I do know the color. They only had a color number available at that point, and it's 140. Not sure. It's a caramel kind of color, and I love them. Last thing I would like to talk about is my cardigan. It's a cardigan, the Jaycee cardigan by Isabel Kramer. I totally love the cardigan. I love the details, like here, the cables and the twisted rib designs. It's also at the brim here, at the sleeves and below. And that is what I like about it. I knitted those in this cardigan in Rennie Super Soft, and that's at one side it is a plus, because it's not a thick cardigan. You can throw it out over my clothes if I'm a little chilled. But the downside is using Rennie Super Soft is it's a very thin 2-ply, and I had to repair the neckline and the cuffs here several times, because the yarn breaks, because when you are at work, or because it's constantly moving around here, it wears out. And that's what I dislike about the Rennie Super Soft, is it's not strong enough for this kind of material, this kind of pattern or the necklines and that kind of thing. I don't know if you are familiar with the yarn and if you have the same problem, but that's the problem I experienced. So for the rest it's well, I have enough yarn left so I can keep on repairing it. But yeah, the Jaycee, Isabel Kramer. And that's all I have to talk about what I am wearing. The next thing I would like to talk about is sewing, because I bought this fabric in summer, and as you can see, the only thing I did with this fabric is washing it, put it in the washer and drying and steaming it, but I haven't done anything with it since. And that was because I wanted to make a dress. That's the first thing I decided. I wanted to make it into a dress. No, that's not true, Marie. The first thing I wanted to do was to make another Otis in this fabric. But then this summer I bought some dresses in a shop, and I decided I really like the feeling of wearing a dress. I don't have many dresses because the feeling I like is dresses that are a little bit wide. So yeah, that is gives me a more free feeling. So after I discovered that, I decided this particular fabric would become a dress. And my first plan was to adjust the Otis pattern and make it into a dress. I started doing that, but I couldn't figure it out, and maybe if I put my head to it I will, but I still have some decisions to make, because either I would make it into a hinterland dress by Sue Liberated, or I also found this pattern by Ella Harp, which is a free pattern, I believe. It's the work dress. And if you are interested, Ella Harp also has is on YouTube, so I will put a link down below. Anyway, it's a very simple linen dress and I really like it. So this is the front. And this is the back. And I'm more and more thinking I will make this Ella Harp design. So that's what I am planning to do with my fabric. Maybe I will have it to show you next week, although it is autumn holiday, so I have the week off, but I planned some things for this week, and I always plan to do much more than I have time to do them in, so I'm not sure if I will be able to finish it. Because tomorrow, for instance, I will go to the Van Gogh Museum, Van Gogh for in English, in Amsterdam, because there is a new exhibition going on about Gustav Klimt, and that's what I would like to visit with my husband, and we are going to visit just the exhibition. We were planning to have a whole day out, go visit the museum, go see some shops maybe, or do something else in Amsterdam and have a nice dinner. But I heard, for instance, there are no trains and no buses traveling tomorrow. They are on strike. So I think we will be going there with our car, but paying for parking in Amsterdam is quite expensive. So I think we will go and drive to Amsterdam to visit the museum and only stay there for the visiting of the museum and then go back, because I don't want to pay too much on parking. So that are my plans for tomorrow, and then we have to see what time I have left next couple of days, if I will be making the dress or doing other things. Then, and the other thing will be knitting. I want to talk about knitting. Let's first talk about my swap. A little cut in this episode again, because my husband was coming downstairs. He had to go to work. He is a caretaker and he works in shifts, and he had a late night shift. So he's going to work at the moment. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the swap. I talked about last week. I wanted to do a swap for my scrappy blanket. And let me show you my progress first of my scrappy blanket. Here's where I am today. And I really like this project, because I can sit down and knit a little bit every time. So it will not be going fast, but it's an easy project to take for some small rows. If you want to knit only a few rows just for the feeling, that's a perfect project to do that. Anyway, I talked about swapping, and that I wanted to swap 20 grams of sock yarn, commercial or other sock yarn, fingering weight to be sure. And if you send 20 grams my way, I will send out a little burp. I will send out a stitch marker. If you want to know more about it, there was a delivery person at the door. And it's summer holiday, so my daughter is at home and my son is at home because he's sick. So that means every once in a while I will be disturbed. I now told them to stay upstairs for at least half an hour. So hopefully I will be able to finish this podcast. Anyway, I was talking about swapping. 20 grams of sock yarn, fingering weight, and it can be one color, it can be several colors, whatever you fancy, and it might be a commercial yarn or hand-dyed, even though scraps you have lying around, not doing anything, I would like to receive. And in return you will get one of my stitch markers I made with the beads, the glass beads I made. If you don't like the stitch markers, I also am willing to return some yarn, some sock yarn from my stash to you. So if you are interested, please leave a comment below, and this is or send me an email at Atelier Mariekuniek, atelier.mariekuniek@gmail.com. And sometimes I feel like, even though I am experienced with using a computer, and I even designed web pages, and I feel like I am getting more and more dumber because I thought adding my email address to my about page would cover the fact you could reach to me. But somehow it doesn't show up. Maybe it shows up at this point, but it didn't last week, so that's why I thought, I show you my email address. I will put it below, but with some spaces between the letters, because I don't want to get too much of all the spam. So that's why I don't normally put it in my description box. But if you're interested, please let me know, because I am willing to send back either yarn or stitch markers. Would be fun, I think. Yeah. And then I talked about my sewing, I talked about my swapping, and I want to talk about the knit along. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I however have to say, tomorrow I'm recording this on Wednesday. Tomorrow is the day the third clue will come out from this Twist and Turn Knit Along by Stephen West. And I am still knitting on clue 1. And it's turned out to be my Michaelmas Fest of Courage project. Because halfway down for clue 1, I'm still knitting on clue 1. I lost a bit of interest and I had to push myself to go further. And I never experienced that in this matter with knitting, so I'm not sure what it is. I think repeating the same 8 rows, although with color work I don't have that, that's also repeating mostly. With this project I have a bit of a problem. So I am pushing myself, letting myself go further. And by the way, if you want to know what the Michaelmas Fest of Courage is, I will put down a link below where you can, it's something from the Waldorf schools. I will put down a link to a website where you can find information about it. Anyway, for me this is my Michaelmas project, and I will need to push myself further and give myself courage to finish this first clue. And I will overcome what is making me dislike it so much. I'm not sure what it is, but anyway. I will show you my project. As you know, these were my color choices for this project. If you want to know more about the yarn, please visit my episode of last week, because there I talk about it and I talk about the yarn a bit more. But here is my result so far, and even though I have a bit of a problem with the process, I do like the way this looks. I already, as you can see, braided the parts that need to be braided. So yeah. Hopefully I will go on knitting later today to finish, because I would surely hope to finish it today so I can go on to clue 2 before clue 3 comes out. It's a bit of a thing for me. But yeah, I really like it. I really do, and I can't explain why I don't like the process at this moment. Maybe someone else had that too. If you do so, please let me know below. But maybe you like the process so far. I don't know. Anyway, it will be finished, that's for sure, because I'm not a quitter. Maybe some projects go to the side for a little, but this one I will go on knitting because I want to go to clue number 2. So yeah, zen. Anyway, that's about this project, the knit along. I hope to be a little bit more positive about it next week. We shall see. Okay, you might notice a little bit difference in the setup because my battery died, so I had to stop again. This turns out to be even more of a Michaelmas project in itself, being the fact that my whole family is was at home. My husband went to work, but I'm constantly, how do you call it, interrupted. Anyway, I hope to be able to finish this last part. I want to share with you some footage from the biking trip I took with my daughter yesterday. We went to visit Zaanse Schans, which is a touristic site not so far from my home. It's about an hour biking, and I've never been there before, and neither is my daughter. So we went there, and the weather was lovely, beautiful, sunny, and not so much wind, so perfect for a biking trip. And so yeah, we visited one mill, because the Zaanse Schans is a place where there are several mills at a river, and there are very old traditional houses there as well, in a specific style for that region. And yeah, I never visited, and I really liked it. The only downside is it is very touristic, so that's the reason why we didn't want to visit it in the summertime, because then there would be so many tourists, and me and my daughter both don't like big crowds. I work at a school. I always walk through lots of children, but I don't know, crowds with adults mostly, in places like that I don't like. So that's why we went in our autumn holiday. I will share some footage also about the one mill we visited inside, which was the painting mill Jacket. They grain pigments there for paint. So yeah, that's why it was, for me, it was very interesting. So we had a lovely day. We had a lovely trip because the weather was wonderful, sunny, and not so much wind. So it was a very nice trip for us to take, and we enjoyed it very much. So I hope you enjoy to see a little bit of this footage. So, we are at the end of the episode of today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I inspired you a little bit. I really enjoyed making this podcast again, and I will enjoy the process of editing the film, because I thought in one of the former episodes I would try to talk through the whole thing, but even today I was constantly interrupted, so I have to edit the footage I took, and I really think it isn't a problem at all, because that's part of my creative process as well. I like to edit my videos, so you can always comment below. As I told you before, I will put in all the things I talked about. I will put in links and descriptions below in the description box. If you liked the episode, please give it a thumbs up, because that would help me enormous. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to be notified if I upload a new video. I would like to thank everyone who left comments below the last video. I really enjoy reading them, and I also would like to thank Carrie for already swapping with me, and I hope there will be more who are willing to swap with me, especially also Dutch people, but this is it for this week. I hope to see you next week. Bye!